got my topic going.
Yeah.
Let's talk social
You were
media,
talking about
right?
all your social medias.
Let's talk social media, okay? So
Turned into a podcast immediately.
okay, so the thing is, right? This is just before we start this topic because it's quite a grave topic. I kind of want to start a channel. This is kind of like you know Exuma Void has his like Exuma Says channel where he just
Yes.
uploads clips of talking. I want to upload. I want to have a channel like that where I just upload clips of stream talking about opinions on stuff because I feel like that'd be kind of nice just as a side project, you know. So I might do that. So I kind of want to get into this talk subject a little bit more. Social media is a really interesting one because there's lots of different ways to look at it, right? And I know I might be taking this a little bit more seriously than you intended, but there's a really good documentary. If any of you haven't watched it, it's called The Social Dilemma. It's on Netflix, and it is
good.
Absolutely incredible. Like it is one of the best documentaries I've ever watched. And it's just got lots of like ex Facebook and Google workers who used to work there a long time ago, back when they were designing how social media would work. And they interviewed them and they basically asked them about, what was your idea with this? What was your intention? And it's really, really, really interesting. If any of you haven't watched it already, I highly recommend. I cannot recommend it enough. It's amazing. So yeah, social media has kind of got like good sides and bad sides, I think. The thing is, I think everyone kind of has a bad look on social media a lot of the time, and understandably so.
Anybody who is over the age of 25.
Yeah, so a lot of people have got a bad thought about
got
social
a bad
media.
street rep.
Yeah, so they're not too keen on it, and it's understandable why. There are reasons that not to like social media. There are reasons that maybe not to want your friends on it, yourself on it, your children, anything like that. So I understand that, but social media also does some really, really great things that I don't think people give it enough credit for. Like rallying people and bringing out niche topics to the light. Sort of, yeah, I suppose so. But there's some really good things that I think people kind of brush over when they think about social media. I have a lot of friends, I had a lot of friends back in school that didn't have social media because they either didn't like it, they didn't see a point in it, they weren't allowed it because their parents didn't want them having it. That kind of thing.
I know some people who weren't allowed it, just at all.
So one of my good friends, he was actually called Eddie. He didn't have social media at all. Like he had nothing. So back in for any UK people, we were in year 9, and he didn't have any social media at all. He had no Instagram, no Twitter, no Snapchat, anything. And at lunchtime, we were always on our phones, just on Instagram and stuff. And he was just always excluded because he never was on it. And we said to him, like, why haven't you got social media? Like, why don't you have Instagram? Why don't you have this? And he basically just said, like, I don't see the point in comparing myself to other people all the time. And that kind of made me think, like, that's kind of true, actually. Like, if you think about it, when you see anything on social media, it's kind of like you're thinking, I'm looking at somebody else's stuff and it's kind of influencing me, like I'm thinking like I'm looking at something else and I'm like, wait, is this what I would do? Kind of thing. Like, this guy
I'm guessing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So this guy's over here on holiday, like living life, and I'm inside, sat here just watching YouTube. Like it kind of makes you think about yourself. And it's really, really unhealthy. It's really, really unhealthy.
And see, when it comes to like social media and stuff, I feel very similarly when it comes to places like TikTok or Instagram,
100%,
where it's a lot of those people who you compare yourself to, and I think it's like unintentional. Not
definitely
for designing, but for the people who are using it. But most of the time, I'm just on Snapchat, and that's it, just chatting to friends and not looking at the story aspect or the other people kind of deal.
Yeah, Snapchat's fine. I think actually no, I don't think any social media is inherently fine, but I think that Snapchat isn't too bad.
It's how you use it.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people use social media for like talking to people. They use it because you have like texting and stuff. I don't think anyone I know actually texts people anymore. Like it's all just Instagram DMs.
Yeah. And for me, that's what Snapchat's for. Snapchat is for chatting to friends.
Yeah, and occasionally seeing what your friends are up to. But I think Instagram's really, really unhealthy because, especially if you're posting things, and this is where I have a real issue with it, and this is one of the reasons I don't use Instagram very much anymore, is because humans are they're kind of designed to take feedback in from people, because that's what social judgment is. You're kind of designed to see what other people think of you, and like if people like you, if people don't like you, you know, because if people don't like you, you think like, oh, have I done something wrong? Like, what do I do to fix it? But so you're designed to take in opinions, but what you're not designed to do is take in, you know, 1,000 opinions like you get on Instagram. Like on Instagram, you'll get hundreds of people seeing your pictures and maybe hundreds of people commenting depending on how big you are, and it's really not healthy, because unless every single comment is perfect, then you think of yourself in a bad way, and it's really, really unhealthy. Actually, especially for younger people, it's really unhealthy.
I think with that, it can be unhealthy and negatively influencing. However, if you acknowledge that is something that's occurring and don't allow it to negatively influence you, you can be, I suppose, all right from that.
Yeah, I suppose so. But I think you're right. But I think it's also very easy to say, just don't let it influence you, or just don't let it bother you. Just ignore it. But when I think when I say that, I'm kind of talking about the younger audience, in the younger people is in between maybe ages 8 and 14. I think they especially when you're growing up as a young teenager, you take criticism a lot more heavily, and it affects you a lot. So one comment, like, there was a really good example in the documentary that there was a young girl who looked no older than like 11, and she was on social media on Instagram, and she was maybe not 11, she was like 13, and she was like taking pictures of herself and putting it on Instagram, and she really liked it. And then somebody said as a joke, like one of her friends said, "Oh, could you make your ears any bigger, lol?" And it was meant to be a harmless joke, but then she like laughed at it a bit, and then like went up and like felt her ear to make sure it wasn't like too big. And it's like, yeah, it's intentionally joking, but like the thing is, right? If somebody said that, if somebody said that about you, it means that they've noticed it, right? Because people don't just randomly say, "Oh, that, you know, this part of you is too big or too small," right? They see it and they think they make an opinion out of it. So whether they meant it as a joke or not, it means they've noticed it. So that's, I think, what they get a bit upset about, or what they can get a bit held up about. But yeah, I have a very strong opinion on social media, especially for younger for younger people. I think for older people it's okay, or like, you know, kind of older teenagers, because they don't really care so much about insults, and maybe not insults, but like comments. But I think when you're younger, it's just really, really easy to, it's really, really easy just to get caught up in small things and kind of be like, take feedback too far. But, you know, let's see what chat's saying. To be fair, social media is only like that if you approach it with that mindset, says Laughing Otter. Yeah, it is basically like that. If you take it with that mindset, you're going to get that feedback. But what I'm referring to mainly, as I've said, is that it's the younger people who don't really think of it that way and don't really think about it too much. They kind of just go post their stuff on Instagram and just expect positive feedback instead of the negative. And sometimes people might get small jokes, and then they kind of, you know, they might take it a bit too seriously. But
virals out of control.
Exactly.
Covering it up. Also, Super Ninja Blue mentioned, like, with streaks, like, he's like, I don't get those. I find them hilarious. Like, personally, I'm not into them because it's just a waste of time for me.
Yeah, definitely.
But I know some people that were on my hockey team when I played hockey, and they had streaks that lasted over the course of several years.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah, I think people don't realize that streaks is a kind of clever way of getting people interested. I think you kind of realize it eventually. You kind of think like, oh yeah, I'm kind of getting baited almost into this. But I think they can be relatively harmless. I don't think they really inherently cause any issues, but I think when it becomes especially as I said with the younger people, it's something that keeps them from doing other things, and it keeps them, more importantly, on that social media. And if that's not healthy for them, then it's not really good. You know, it's not good to have things that keep you coming back. You know, like if if you realize that gambling is really bad for you, and I guess it's a bit of an extreme example, but if you realize,
Goes straight from social
right?
media streaks to gambling.
If you realize, if you kind of realize that gambling is bad for you, and they've got like a system where if you gamble like 3 times, like I don't know, like 6 times a week, like every day for a week, then you get a bonus on that next week, right? It's gonna keep you in, like, and you kind of realize it, but yeah, it's kind of one of those things that just keeps you coming back, you know. But yeah, it can be relatively harmless, but I guess it depends on who's getting it, and this is what worries me, is that a lot of companies are kind of attracting the younger audience, when it's not really who they should be targeting, you know.
Yup. Also, hello, Mackenzie.
Yeah, I feel like I've been hogging the talking a bit more. If you want, do tell me to shut up if I'm being a bit annoying. But oh yeah, definitely. Some people are really good with how much they on social media.
See, here's proof of what you're saying. Munchie said that they have a sibling who has tons of streaks with thousands of days, and they just spend all their time on Snapchat.
I know, and that's not coincidence. That's a design technique that they're going through. That Snapchat have gone. Somebody at Snapchat has thought, what can we do to keep people engaged? Because what social media is it's a
They
big.
did a good job.
They did, yeah. Because what social media is basically a big battle for how much time you will spend on their platform. YouTube, come spend more time on YouTube. Come spend more time on TikTok. Come spend more time on Twitter, right? Whatever. And they make these. They make these on MySpace. Yes, come spend more time on MySpace. But yeah, it's a big battle for your time, because ultimately, what the users are the customers is what it is. There's a common misconception, I think, with social media that it's the ads that are being sold, and that it's the data that's being sold, and it's not really the data that's being sold. The thing that companies want is people. It's what they want. They pay for adverts on your social media, on your feed, because they want people to see it. They want people, basically. If they've got more people, more people see their ads. If more people see their ads, it's more money. And if it's more money, then they've won, you know? Like that's their goal.
Victory Royale,
Victory
baby.
Royale if they get money.